Welcome to That's My Biz, the Internet Business Showcase, where we bring exposure to products, services, and special causes of local businesses and organizations. Thank you so much for joining us. We are coming to you live from the BizLinks TV studio. Brought to you by Southeast Computers, repairs, upgrades, custom builds, and restorations. SoutheastComputersATL.com. Hello, everyone, and welcome to That's My Biz. I'm Pamela Alexander, your host, and as always, we enjoy bringing to you the wonderful businesses, organizations, and nonprofits that we meet when we're out and about networking. I have with us a special guest, Mr. Kervance Ross. Welcome, Kervance.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Now, Kervance and I go way back with networking, and he has a vast background, vast experience. He's going to share just a tidbit with you today. But he owns KDR Consulting, LLC, and it is a holistic marketing, branding, and developmental training firm for businesses of all entities. And has a lot of experience. Some he'll share with you, but the first thing we want to start with is we want to share with us a little bit of your story. How did you get started in business?
It was a journey of fear, actually. Grew up, and when I got to college, I headed to Alabama A&M University in Huntsville, Alabama, majored in marketing, and did not know exactly which direction I wanted to go in because of my scholarship with music. When I got out of college, didn't have an internship, didn't have a car, and my mom had a clear direction that I had to get a job and get a car.
Right.
Well, I didn't understand the hustle, worked at a car dealership, figured it out for 3 months, I quit. Thought I wanted to be a major fashion designer, did that for a year, I quit.
Okay.
And the concept from a marketing standpoint is that you needed 3 to 5 years experience, but nobody wanted to give you those 3 to 5 years. So I started working in the financial industry and became quite successful. I worked for Wachovia Bank for almost 7 to 8 years. Was one of the top high-ranking account executives in the state of Georgia, but was empty and wanting more. In my office, I started the business, but I could not jump out because that 15th and the 30th check was so consistent. Literally had a person attack me that was an employee. That caused what they call workplace violence.
Right.
It doesn't matter who initiates it, both people are terminated. Turned into one of the greatest blessings in my life because it pushed me into the place that I was fearful of going. Worked for a wholesale mortgage company. After 2 years, they got closed for cooking the books with the TARP funds. And sitting in my office trying to figure out at home what was the next move. And as clear as I'm talking to you, God spoke to me and said, hey, I told you what to do 2 years ago. You were just too afraid. Started the business, kept refining it, got burned a couple of times, grew, nurtured the business, and all of a sudden one day it just started to work for my benefit, and we've been going since then. It's 9 years now.
Wow. Now, and part of what I'm hearing is you have to keep morphing. You sound like you tried a lot of things that you were passionate about. We know fashion is something you're very passionate about, and then getting into finance, finding some passion there. But also what I'm hearing is a lot of times you know exactly what it is you're supposed to be doing, and you're thinking, if I just stop and do what I know I'm supposed to do, I can be successful.
It's the scary thing because many people know or are nudging towards what they're headed for, but it's a fearful moment.
Right.
And you know that this is not the end for you, but you're so focused on the check, the job, and what you've structured and developed for yourself.
Right.
And it's that moment where you got to step out and say, hey, this is what I'm purposed to do, this is what I'm passionate about doing, and there's no if I fail. It's going to win. I just got to go out and do it.
Right. Well, now, and I tell you, and you said you have that marketing background, that marketing education, but now you're doing what's called holistic marketing.
Yes.
I have a feeling that wasn't in the curriculum. So tell everyone exactly what holistic marketing is.
Well, I found so many companies who, most people think they know what marketing is, but they really don't. Most people narrow marketing down to a logo, a website, a billboard.
Right.
But that's such a small piece of marketing. So from a holistic standpoint, we cover everything that deals with marketing, whether it's your strategy, whether it's the research, whether it is the development, if it's your logo, your website, or your brand strategy. Or more importantly, the developmental phase, because marketing is most effective when it's embraced internally first, before it's externally introduced. So we go in, do executive leadership training, we do the development, of the staff and the psyche of that staff, because if we put the makeup on the website and on the internet and your people are still operating the same, it's problematic. So that's the holistic concept.
Okay, and I love that, tying it all together. And part of what you don't hear a lot about marketing is that front end, that planning. But like you said, everyone understanding. A lot of people just dive in and think they should put an ad out there, or whether it's a Facebook boosting your post and whatnot, build a website, get a logo, and then that is just all going to work and it falls together, and they call it marketing.
Yeah.
But getting into that and planning now, and then also, I know you work with a lot of ministries as well. What's the difference in marketing for corporate and marketing for ministries?
Well, it's a dynamic transition, because most ministries see marketing as a curse word. They have focused holistically on the spiritual perspective, not recognizing that a lot of times from a corporate or business standpoint, these are biblical principles that they have just mastered and moved forward with. Unfortunately, ministries have negated these business principles and stated that we're just going to go on because the gospel is free. So we have to go in now and actually renovate, refine, and refocus a ministry from a professional's perspective. So you're really starting from the basics sometimes. And because you have so many different targets in a congregation, you've got to find out what customized aspect of marketing works for this particular ministry, because what may work for one doesn't work for another. So it takes a little bit more nurturing than it does for a corporation.
Okay, so the same way that all churches are not the same, all denominations are not the same. The marketing for each of those and to that particular audience is not going to be the same.
It's never going to be the same, and you've got to start with the top. You start with the leadership, and it's hard to get them to understand there is a strategy that does not water down your message, that allows people to be focused on, particularly in the 21st century.
And it sounds like ministries may have the same challenge that other nonprofit organizations have, where they shy away from the business side of it. But there's still a lot of business and business strategies that have to go in place in order to really to grow, because you're looking to grow. You're having to sell. Everyone's a salesperson, right?
Yes, and I think that's the hard part, because they look at it as long as we have the doors open, then we must be doing a good job. And in the 21st century, people have so changed that the relationship that you had with the baby boomers, 20 or 30 years now, most baby boomers will either not be in a church or they will be deceased. If you're not targeting people outside of that demographic, targeting the millennials, giving them an understanding of, if I'm promising you something, there's something that you're looking for in return. And everything is attached to a promise. It does deal with revenue. It does deal with professionalism. It does deal with customer service. And it deals with branding your ministry. So that's a hard pill to swallow sometimes, but the great ministries do it effectively.
And things have changed, like you mentioned millennials. Marketing to millennials is definitely different, right?
It's a lot different, because most people who did marketing even 5 years ago, the process has drastically changed. If you're doing anything from a marketing standpoint the way you did it 5 years ago, you're probably ineffective. Just looking at the changes with the internet, with social media, with the fact that people can now understand marketing and life and your business in such a more detailed fashion than they used to. You've got to change your strategy. It can't simply be a commercial. It can't be a billboard. It can't even be your product, because people don't buy products anymore. They buy relationships. So it changes the whole concept.
That's right. I love it. That's something that we talk about all the time. People that know, like, and trust you is who is buying from you or interacting or engaging with you. Now, in talking about engagement, Kervance, you've been called the Kingmaker. Tell everyone exactly what that is and why they're now calling you the Kingmaker.
Well, it's strategy. It was haphazard in working with a client. They saw some of our prior work and stated, Kervance, you're a kingmaker. I never heard that terminology before. And as I started to refine it and started to embrace it, it's that individual or group of individuals who helps with the development, growth, and empowerment of an individual or an organization from its aspect of prominence, prestige, and popularity.
Okay.
So from a kingmaker standpoint, I understand that my purpose, both business, individual, and personal, is to help bring out the greatness in people in every aspect of their lives.
Okay.
A kingmaker can sometimes be that person that meets you on your road to greatness, and they're just there to help propel you to where you need to be. Often, though, a kingmaker can be in that role because sooner or later they'll be sitting in the king's seat,
Right.
and they need to understand the
Right.
backgrounds of it. So, with that concept in mind, I've taken on this kingmaker moniker. It's a lot of the training that we do.
Okay.
I have a book that's coming out called The Kingmaker. So it's something that I've embraced, and I think sometimes you've got to call yourself the greatness that you're headed towards.
That's right.
And we just don't embrace it enough, and I've just decided to embrace that concept.
I love that, and repeat that one more time because I really want our audience to hear that because we have a fantastic audience and some great people out there, and some that are on that road to it, but may not have just embraced that yet. But say that again about embracing the greatness within you.
I recognize that a lot of people have. Let me say it again. I'll rephrase that. Everybody has greatness in them. They're just not seeing enough images of greatness before them to tap into the greatness within them.
Okay.
So if I grew up in the inner city and I see a drug dealer and I recognize that I'm great, often because that's my image, I become Frank Lucas.
Okay.
If I've seen an image and I recognize that greatness is in me, but I see a pimp or a hustler, I'll become Iceberg Slim.
Right.
The challenge is the images that we need to see often are not in front of us.
Okay.
And more importantly, people respond to what you call them.
Right.
So if I call you great from the beginning, if I start nurturing that greatness in you, it takes you from a job function to purpose.
Okay.
So that kingmaker concept is about embracing the greatness in you, not shying away from that greatness, and recognizing that the moment you begin to speak that concept into its reality, it changes your mindset, it changes your operation, and it changes your direction.
Right, and that touches into part of that. Even what everyone was talking about, the secret.
Yes.
What the secret is, and that's all part of that as well. Is just speaking it, is putting it out there, and then I think also not even relying on what you see in front of you and what you want to emulate, but going out and finding it.
Yes.
Finding those people, doing the research, look for those people that you can emulate that are where you want to be.
Yes.
And then really learning about them.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
And I think that's a hard thing in business. Many of us have tackled business from a strategic standpoint, and that's important.
Yeah.
But a lot of this is relationships. And the relationships that we're building from a business standpoint are important because often maybe we are holding on to a relationship too long. We're not nurturing it long enough. Or more importantly, we're not even making the connection.
Yeah.
Those concepts, along with strategy, help us focus on it. But I find that the challenge with most business owners and leaders is that they don't recognize their impact and their power. And more importantly, they're only operating in what somebody told them they were good at, never their really focus, purpose, and passion. And that gets back to marketing, because before we're able to help you with a logo design, it's more effective if I know what your purpose for doing this is.
Exactly.
Because now I don't have to keep shooting logos at you.
That's right.
I can get down to the nuts and bolts of why it's effective and make it for where you're headed, not just where you are.
I love it, and you all already see some of the kingmaker coming out, and I love that because so many people are ready to give you advice without having any idea what your goals are or where it is that you're trying to go, what you want to accomplish.
Right.
So now, talking about the kingmaker, you mentioned the book that's coming out. So tell us a little bit more about that book that's going to be coming out, and when can we expect it?
Well, we're hitting for the summer of 2015, this summer. And one of the things that the Kingmaker book is I wanted to impact and empower people from a business standpoint, a personal standpoint, and even from a spiritual standpoint. I wanted people to understand that there is a reality, particularly in the 21st century, that you've got to be able to focus on what you were designed to do. It's a difference in life when you're working a job and operating in a purpose. And the people who are successful because they have been able to figure out what they were designed to do. And if more people were able to tap into that concept, I think it changes how we operate and the people that we're impacting.
Right.
And the last thing I wanted people to do is to wake up one day and meet the individual that they could have been.
Wow.
So I've just decided to encapsulate this in this book that everybody can tap into their moment of greatness, tap into their passion, recognize their purpose, and whether it's in business, whether it's in life, whether you're discouraged at this point, or whether you're on the right road but just need a little nudging, recognizing that when you tap into the kingmaker and the greatness in you, everything in your life may not get smoother, but you will get greater on the journey. So that's what it's all about.
I love that. We are definitely looking forward to that. Let everyone know when it comes out, or I'm sure you're going to be doing some pre-sales. Tell them where they can go so that they can get your book.
Well, right now you can, we're getting ready to rebrand. You can always find me on all things social media. If it's Twitter or Instagram, it's I am Kervance Ross. If it's Facebook, it's just Kervance Ross. We are now doing a series, and there's a channel on YouTube where we're doing the preparation for the book. It's the YouTube channel, just Kervance Ross. Type in the Kingmaker, you can find that, and it will be in all outlets. It'll be downloadable everywhere. You'll be able to purchase it off of our website, kervance.com. We're just moving directly forward and increasing the visibility of it, and you just keep your eyes open and you'll figure it out, and we'll see it there.
Good. You all make sure you check that out. And before we go, I want you to just talk or mention Brands in Bites marketing, and then also tell us about that branding national tour.
Brands in Bites is a national tour that we've been on. We've gone to 4 cities, and it's that concept of making people recognize that, as I stated earlier, a lot of people think they know what marketing is, but they really don't. It's been sponsored by Microsoft, and we're taking it to small communities in major cities. And it's focused on business leaders, potential entrepreneurs, current entrepreneurs, college students with a business focus, and corporations. And what we're doing is we're taking it in small bites. So everything you do, we're not trying to make you experts. We're just trying to give you an understanding. So you get dinner in bites by a local business owner. You get dessert in bites. You get the technology in bites with Microsoft. You get the networking in bites. And then we transition into the marketing, branding, and development in bites. And it's coming to a city near you. If you don't see the calendar in your city, just reach out to us. It's the website, brands, the letter N, bites.com.
Fantastic. Everyone, make sure that you look out for that. It sounds like some good information that you'll be able to utilize to grow your business, start your business, or even just take your business to that next level. So again, so that they can become the kingmakers. So I want everyone, make sure that you reach out to Kervance. Kervance, before we leave, give everyone one last tip on marketing or branding for their business that they can use today.
One of the biggest tips that I would be able to give you an insight when it comes down to marketing and branding is market and brand your business from a pure place. There is an overrated concept of competition. I am a negator of competition because I believe that when you operate in your purpose and passion, it's not about competition. It's about creating a market where competition now lives. I believe that there is not so much focus when you're operating in purpose on the bloody waters of competition as much as it is the blue ocean of the creation of your purpose. Figure out what you've been designed to do. Figure out who your target market is. Focus on that passion, and from that marketing and strategy concept, the exchange of your product to the client will now receive value, and people will go across the country raving about the things that you've done effectively. Find your passion, find your purpose, market to your target.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us, Kervance.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Everyone, please make sure that you reach out to Kervance. You can check out this episode again, and please share it with others as well at BizLinks, www.bizlinks.tv. Also, go to our YouTube channel. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Give us some thumbs up on the episodes. Reach out to our guests as well on the episodes. Give them some feedback and some comments, as well as go to our Facebook page at facebook.com/BizLinksTV. I'm Pamela Alexander, your host of That's My Biz, and with BizLinks TV Network, remember, we want to expose your business to the world. Thank you for joining us. Today's show can be viewed on demand on our website at www.bizlinks.tv. If you are interested in having your products, services, or special cause showcased on our program, submit an inquiry to That's My Biz at bizlinks.tv. In addition, information on advertising and hosting your own show can be found on our website at bizlinks.tv.